Red 2 standing by, all for lit, and in the green. Welcome back to Pokemon Emerald version, where we are on Route 125, just north of Mauville. We can... not Mauville, Moss Deep. I mean, technically, we're north of Mauville City, but we're so far east as well that you would probably more accurately call us east than north. But we are battling trainers, leveling up our team, and going to be spending a bit of time on the sea routes. Well, more time on the sea routes. Because there's a lot to do out on the ocean, and I want to at least set up a base. Oh no, they don't have anything else. Because I thought there would be another Pokemon coming and I didn't pay attention. Oh well, Joelle's just sort of standing there. I'm helping! I need more coverage. Also, why did I wind up teaching Shadow Ball to Delcatty? That wasn't smart! It's taken me so many episodes and it's just... oh. Dunce cap moment. Real dunce moment. I suppose... it's the sort of thing that happens when you go on a series like this. This is a marathon. This is what, episode 47. I've been through so much. This guy's dithering back and forth. All waiting for us. Obviously wants to battle us and obviously a bit of a creep. He's at least got a Tentacruel, which is a fairly decent opponent for Zunama. And it gets... a Bubble Beam? Yeah, it's probably going to be faster. But yeah, this is a marathon undertaking. Pokemon games are always pretty long unless you sort of truncate things. You really have to cut things down. And trying to show off as much as I can does get a bit wearing. I mean, how am I going to do the Battle Frontier? That is going to be challenging because there's just so much to do. And I don't really have the right team for the job. I would have to work so hard just to get some high-level Pokemon. All primed and ready to take on the Battle Frontier. Because, I mean, as good as my Pokemon here are, they're probably not going to stand up to the rigors of the Battle Frontier, which requires you to do a whole lot of competitive level stuff, pretty much, and... hooray! We're back to losing coin flips. I don't miss Supersonic one bit. I'll be a bit disappointed if I don't get the KO. Oh well. Almost there. What do we got? Machoke. We can use Surf on that, I think. That'll be fine. Well, we actually had a bit of luck go our way, but yeah, I've really got to plan out just how the long term is going to go for this series. Uh-oh. At least I'm going to snap out of confusion this turn. Yep, that's always the fastest way for the AI to KO your Pokemon, exploit coin flips. The HP's good, the HP's really good. Well. Alright, fair enough. What is it? What do you have to say? Oh, rightio. Yeah, that's pretty neat. So, I've hopefully put the information about that up on the screen at some point with my trainer notes. Like, I think I'm getting good details with the formats and things like that and the way I present everything. I'm just sort of... I mean, even now I'm still sort of wondering, did I do everything right with Super Mario Odyssey? I'll have to sort of... because that is coming next. I just have to figure out what I'm going to do and how I wind up presenting that. Because I just sort of had some really experimental episodes, but I suppose that's half the fun of it. You can be a little bit experimental and just sort of have the journey at your own pace in your own fun way. I don't know, maybe I'll put it together and see what I think. Oh, good old Seaking. Just sort of out of the way, not super fancy. Super sonic though. It's like, okay, well I obviously can't do very much damage to you, so I'm just going to annoy you. Again and again and again. You know, it would have been funny if I snapped out of... Nope, Joelle's actually got pretty good luck and pretty good focus. Really makes me think I should bring Ocarina of Time to the channel. But then again, Ocarina of Time and Super Mario Odyssey are both sort of fairly big time sinks too. So there's a lot I have to plan out because I've got so many ideas. There's a lot of trainers around here. I suppose this is probably a very popular swimming spot for people in Moss Deep City. Because it's just easily accessible. It probably isn't very dangerous in terms of deep sea areas. It'd be pretty nice. I think it probably would be like a big sort of communal swimming area. I could really see that. Oh well, Love Disc really isn't much chop. But it would be a good challenge run. Hello, strange men chasing each other. Alright, so it... Wait, no, I haven't thrown anything into the sea. I mean, okay, maybe I punched out that Love Disc, but it's not fair to call that garbage. Alrighty. Expert Auron! Oh man, where's the big sword? You are not Auron. Where are the sunglasses? Where's the big sword and the booze? So how do I do this? I think I punch this and uppercut this. And static triggers. No, static did not trigger. There you go. Huh. There we are! And I still haven't gone to the fiery path. I will remove Thief. It's not going to be that helpful. Will-O-Wisp is going to be a lot better. Alright, what do we got? Machamp! The guy's got a Machamp, which looks kind of weird. And my ghost got blown away. Oh, right now, Machamp is probably smacking Tropius upside the head, going, "You dumbass! What did you do that for? What possessed you to do that?" Captain Toad is faster than Truffle, huh? Well, Tropius paid for its mistake, and Machamp is about to pay for Tropius' mistake too. Telephone Bird. Yep, that was pretty much the reason behind why I had the Natu and Xatu Pokedex entries that way, because I always thought, from being a kid, that its cry sounded like a telephone. Just one of those things, so I just kind of stuck with it. And yeah, Xatu doesn't get to do a thing. I really, really do kind of miss the fact that I don't have a Pokemon that can use fire moves on my team. I mean, I've never actually used Ninetales. I could wind up replacing Captain Toad with Ninetales. Look, in all fairness, part of the reason I've wanted to use a fire type on my team is so that I can actually have more of an excuse to use the "you must be hardened with fire" line from the CDI games.
You must be hardened with fire!
Because why not? it would be fun. Alrighty, Ninetales is pretty good, but it kind of suffered because it had its base special made into its special defense. Okay, have I beaten everyone on this route now? Looks like it. So we can take a quick jaunt into Moss Deep City. And we can find an item somewhere along the way. Thought we could, anyway. Alrighty, well here's probably a good spot. Dynamic Punch, not really. No. Wait, you? Rightio. Ah, there you go. So, we need to stop off here, heal our team, and then we can head south on the sea routes. I probably want to make my way to Pacific Log Town and use that as a base, as I've mentioned, because it's probably best to go there now and establish it as a flying point, because you really do need to. So it's a quick stop off into Moss Deep, but we can find a whole lot of stuff on Route 128. So I suppose there's going to be a little bit more water. I should really stop and sell some stuff. Pokemon is here. We'll explore Moss Deep later, I promise. I'm pretty impressed that I've actually managed to make so much money out of things. There's just so much. I mean, normally I don't have this much money. I don't know what it is that's just made my team so effective. But yeah, we haven't needed a lot of expenditure. Yeah, there's a lot of TMs I don't need, honestly. Okay, so what I'm going to do... No, I don't want to sell that. I don't want to sell that. What I'm going to do is actually teach it to Skarmory for a little bit. I'll replace Swift. And then I have to go and find out exactly what Hidden Power is going to be. It's not going to be very strong. I know that much. But I've got Hidden Power on hand because I know that I'm going to have trouble possibly running into a Pokemon with an unexpected magnet pull. So I want that option for Skarmory to hit those Pokemon. Oh, Zinc. Let's... I think I gave the last stat booster I found to Kiwi, so... Captain Toad this time. I suppose it is pretty handy that you actually get the opportunity to travel to the different routes with soaring. Okay, so what I'm going to do... Alright, let's put Falcon in so I can get experimenting. Alright. Now I can try and find out what on earth Falcon's hidden power is going to be. Okay, so... Stun Spore, let's hit Manectric. Alrighty. That's actually pretty handy because I can just use Aerial Ace. Manectric is probably faster than Falcon. It's ground type! Oh, That makes me happy. I could not have asked for that to go any better. Because Electric has one weakness, and it's ground type right off the bat. Oh, that coverage. That cheers me up. That means that if I run into Magneton, the Steel Falcon can dish out some damage. Aha. Speaking of Skarmory. This will be an incredible duel. Radio, smack it with a steel. Maybe I will get the defense boost. Fair enough, you probably need Surf to get out here. And I mean, Captain Toad's not going to be doing that much. Oh. Radio. Okay, maybe if I start focusing on taking out Skarmory. Alright, I think I'm being a bit stupid in persisting with Captain Toad, but I mean, I'd have had the advantage if Sky Uppercut didn't miss. There's the defense buff. Yeah, Linoon wouldn't be as helpful in later generations because Surf does hit your putt. Captain Toad needs glasses! Tsunami, if you would be so kind. I think I'm just gonna have Falcon take care of Linoon. And if we don't one-shot, then we just put in a Surf. Honestly. 90 accuracy, my foot. Oh well, at least I can run back to Moss Deep and just heal everyone. Wow, Tsunama's as slow as a wet week, jeez. Yep, we're taking a trip back to Moss Deep just to get the team fixed up. Ironically, it wasn't the electric type that was the problem. Oh well, we got there eventually. Well, that's kind of the point. So what do we got? I'm not going to complain about that. It was worth it. Mostly. Alright. Back to Moss Deep to heal up the team, and then we start afresh. Alrighty, back at it, and Route 127 has a lot of interesting little hidey holes and diversions, with quite a few fishermen along the way as well. So you can actually get a lot of exploring done out on these sea routes. Like, there's a seriously good amount of things to find, and Pokemon that aren't very strong. But I do like the fact you can just sort of explore everywhere. It takes some of the tedium away once you know the routes. And it also helps that you can basically just go, okay, I haven't explored here. When you get here the first time, it's like, okay, let's go this way, see what we can do. That's the sort of thing you really need when you're planning sea routes and things like that. Or just any route in general. Like, we want to have the opportunity to explore. And it's kind of a sad thing about Sword and Shield that apart from the wild area, you really didn't get much exploration opportunity. Like, it was just, the routes themselves were so bland. I mean, even in Johto, there are lots of little interesting bits and diversions you can take. I'd probably appreciate a few more things like that along the way. Why do you have a Magikarp? Why? But yeah, there are still little bits you can explore. Things that you can traverse once you've picked up a few more items or you want to come back later. It's just really neat. I hate you so much. I hate this fisherman. Why did somebody think it's just a good idea to give late game opponents Magikarp? Thank you. At least I've still got decent attack. Of course, the question of how do I face this thing and how much experience do I need anyway? Okay. Alrighty, we can probably switch out reasonably well. Yeah, paralyze it, tag out for Kiwi, and then... Yep, we will finish it off with Thunderbolt. It's hard to believe Dragon Rage was actually the first, and at the time, only Dragon move. Jeez, I am surprised that didn't KO. I mean, Kiwi's stats are not great. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of using a mid-game Pokemon as we're getting into the late game. But we try. We do our level best. Alrighty. Now I will heal Kiwi and we'll get on our way, and at least I don't have to deal with him and his Magikarp anymore. But yeah, Dragon Rage being the only Dragon move in the first games meant that the fact that Dragon was sort of strong against itself as the called the Infinity +1 type made it a bit useless in all fairness. Like, you look at how well things are going here, but then again, every series winds up with its oddballs, its strange development ideas, and the things that just don't work. I mean, you've got to try things, definitely. You've got to test things out and see what works and what doesn't, and have a few new ideas along the way. Because not everything is going to work first time. You can say that at least you've tried it and you move on. Because, like, it's always worth experimenting and developing and pushing things that little bit further. Yep, Fisherman Jonah has a Wailmer. Because you don't really get anywhere without experimentation and being willingness to switch things up, having a willingness to switch things up a bit. Because you can't just sort of rely on the same thing over and over again. Even Pokemon has reinvented itself now and then. You try something, if it doesn't work, you maybe polish it a little bit if you think it's a good idea, but if it's really not, then you can drop it. You can say, hey, at least we tried this. Now, it's possible, for example, that Game Freak could be coming up with the opportunity to make some new games with different approaches. Because they have in the past made some different titles. I know there was Harmonite, there was Tembo the Badass Elephant, there's probably a few others along the way. But it really is a case of maybe if you actually gave Game Freak the opportunity to properly work on something, the results are going to be pretty good. Because, like, let's be honest, Pokemon started out a bit janky, but they were sort of getting it going early on. I know they polished a lot when it came to the 2D entries. But when it comes to the 3D entries, they just haven't quite been able to get it just right. But that's also around the time that the games have been sort of on much more of a tight schedule. They have to be finished by a certain time. There has to be everything done this way so that it can match up with the merchandise and things like that. It's not helpful in the slightest. I mean, I suppose from some perspective it might make a bit of sense, but the problem is, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. You get away from Pokemon. You get away from all the restrictions and hindrances and blah 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 that get stuck on Pokemon. And then you kind of realize that, okay, yeah, Game Freak can actually make some pretty decent games along the way if they're just given the proper tools. Oh yeah, we got that. Let's wander down here a little bit. That's the entry to Sotopolis. There should be something else over this side, like a trainer. Probably wind up wrapping this one up here. But yeah, you give pretty much any development, most development teams anyway, the right tools, the right time frame, things like that, you can actually wind up with some really good results. So I guess we'll see what on earth we wind up getting out of this new game. The triathletes have a lot of Staryu. I did mention earlier on that they tend to have the Staryu line. Sometimes other water types. Okay. Maybe we'll find land. There should be land nearby if we go up. Oh, that's that bit. There's another sort of little holder. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you very much for joining me. Till next time, this is Red 2, returning to base.